Sorry. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Poetry for Peace. My name is Niovi Patsikakis, and I'm the president of Global Peace Alliance. I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the land of the traditional and unceded territory of the Katsi, Semiahmoo, Kwantlen, and other Coast Salish peoples. So I'll tell you a little bit about Global Peace Alliance before we start. I have been on the board since it started in 2013. And it was started by community leaders. And it was based on a book by R.B. Harath called A New Beginning for Mankind. The purpose of the Global Peace Alliance is to unite communities. We want a world of lasting peace, and peace that's based on justice, democracy, economic equity, and environmental integrity. We want humans to celebrate their diversity, respect everyone's values, and resolve any kind of conflict by non-violent means. So every year we have a contest, an art and literature contest, and we have a multicultural festival, and usually at our festival we try to exhibit the art, and around Christmas time we have the literature component, where in 2019 we were able to get together and do it face-to-face, where people who won read their essays or their poetry or their stories. But of course, last year we had to do it, our festival, online. We're hoping that in 2022, we can get back to being in person. So the arts is very important because through the arts, human beings find commonalities, and it brings out the best of us, our humanity. So our theme is always variation on peace, friendship, social justice, and so on. So tonight, I'm very happy that we have this year's winners. And before I show you who they are, I'd like to also tell you that Global Peace Alliance supports many other organizations. Some of them are World Beyond War, Canadian Voice of Women for Peace, Canada-Nepal Friendship, Migrant Rights Network, Canadians for Justice and Peace in the Middle East, and those are just a few. Recently, an organization was formed called Canada-wide Peace and Justice Network, and there are now over 42 organizations that are working together with those goals in mind. So I'm going to take a minute and share my screen with everyone. And I would like to congratulate all of the winners. Not everyone is here today, but for those who are, they are going to tell you their name and what they'll be reading. But I would really like to say thank you to everyone who participated this year. All right, so Ryza, you're going first. Anytime you're ready.
Okay. So, my poem is about the Every Child Matters. You blindly acted being unkind. We are trying to leave that sorrow behind. Help us make this world a better place to live, and don't make us feel deprived. All we want is peace and no discrimination. We'll leave no space for hate and argumentation. All we ask for you is to own up your wrong deed and stop piling our needs. Our culture and uniqueness are our pride. Listen to us, we have survived. Because we were forced to follow one culture, we forgot all about our ancestors. Only arrogance can plan to kill a culture, but only kindness can excuse extreme abusers. A school is a place to impart knowledge, not to kill, just to maintain their goodwill. The amusement of being at school was taken away, and all left was sorrow and a lot of raise. Still can feel the pain of mothers and fathers as residential schools get their way. Lowering flags is not the only solution. Now is the time to do some action. Stand by us as we stand for the nation, so there's always a place for articulation. Help us take that burden off our shoulders and don't try to put us in a molder. No one owns the land and water. Let's come together to cherish and be achievers. We have lived under pain for so long. Help us reshape our culture with you along. 215 are just opening numbers. No one knows the actual truth behind the surrender. The kids that were supposed to play were forced to then work as slaves. Playful lives of kids full of chatter, because to me, every child matters.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was lovely. Yes. All right. Who's going next?
Me.
Do you want to tell us who you are?
I'm Samantha Esquivel, and I wrote an essay.
Does
The
your
colors,
essay have a title?
yes, the colors of our flowers. The Colors of Our Flowers by Samantha Esquivel. Flowers are such beautiful creatures of this world, each one unique, special, and irreplaceable, but all belonging to the same wondrous land we reside on. Flowers are luscious, exquisite, sophisticated, delicate, and fierce in their own distinguished way. But they're also vulnerable. Pests, famine, drought, floods, extreme heat all cause the destruction of the beauteous flowers. Each succumbs to the darkness at their own pace in their own way. Yes, some may capitulate more slowly than the rest, but that proves how strong their will is to live, to breathe the fresh air, to feel the soft summer breeze on their petals, to see and feel the light. In a way, you can say that humans today are like that. Us glamorous flowers are succumbing to more than just COVID. We're succumbing into lies, full-on racism, cruel inequality, cold fear, and burning hatred. The ground shakes at our resentment. The sky darkens at our inability to see the light and love. The clouds weep at our lack of remorse, and the great trees shake their head at our discrimination towards each other through color of skin and much more. Some flowers give into the darkness quickly, believing that there is someone to blame for their difficulties. COVID brought out the worst in us. It still is. When COVID struck, the frail petals of our flowers began to wither. Nearly all did. It felt like the sun refused to shine brightly and warmly, like the clouds withheld their thirst-quenching rain, like the subtle wind forgot to blow. The darkness continued to spread. When the smallest ribbon of golden light shone through, colors fought, making alliances with other colors. When the light didn't shine, we still fought. For what? With or without light, colors still quarreled, letting the darkness seep into their goodness. The masses of flowers segregated themselves to join their desired colors. Reds, blues, greens, violets, yellows, oranges, blacks, whites, grays, browns. Why choose? The faster we succumb to this dark influence, the faster our vibrant petals and our viridescent leaves wither. We turn to put other colors at fault for this. Colors mistreated and oppressed, spectacular black flowers were their color. Colors berated and caused anguish to our red exotic East Asian flowers for their appearance. Colors did the same to our green benevolent Middle Eastern flowers. With memories resurfacing after the discovery of the 215 remains of indigenous children, it's safe to say that colors have done the same to our respected and good-natured orange flowers. When will these flowers that are making themselves seem superior or right see that we all belong to the same land, the same earth, and that we are all suffering from one thing or another, with some suffering than most? At that point, various flowers have withered. In honor of the 215 indigenous children remains found at the grounds of a residential school in Kamloops later on during this pandemic, I respectfully acknowledge that their people have been persecuted on their own ancestral land and still deserve more recognition for what they have been through. The orange of their petals became more incandescent with the need to be recognized, acknowledged, and understood. Many British Columbians stand with them. This is one of Canada's historic shames. Who knows how many more undiscovered remains of nameless children lay beneath the ground of the countless residential schools across Canada? Who knows how many more suffer from their traumatic experiences? Thankfully, most of us learn from our mistakes. This is a new generation, a new decade, and we are fighting for change. Soon enough, one type of flower will not have to suffer on their own. Instead, they will be welcomed with open arms, or leaves if you want to keep to the flower analogy. Multiculturalism is a wonderful thing. We can learn to accept. If we have not in the past, then we should now. As I wrote earlier, we all belong to the same land, do we not? Therefore, we have a duty to each other. Though the world may not always be at its greatest, we know that someone, anyone, will always have our back. Whether it be a friend, a family member, a colleague, or a stranger, someone will always be there for us. Since the pandemic, we learned how some people easily turn to violence and unnecessary conflict. We need to work on accepting others, acknowledging our differences, and being less stereotypical. We have time to change, so why not start now? Flowers don't need to be separated by color. The reason for that is that flowers are more resplendent when intertwined. It's like a sea of endless rainbows, always vibrant, always radiant, always exuberant. The best part is that there's room for everyone. There's more than enough love, and flowers of all colors are accepted with feathery breezes, the excited buzz of bees, and the gentle tickles of the sun. Quote, "Forgiveness does not change the past, but it does enlarge the future." End of quote. Paul Louis Bose.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And as you all know, each flower is so unique. And that's how people are. We're all here with unique gifts and talents and souls. All right, who's going next?
Okay, my name is Mahek Lally, and I did a free verse poem called Pandemic. So, okay, trapped in a cage like a bird, a constant tick tick in my head, wondering when we'll be free, yearning for new things to do. Books called out to me, they kept me company. Any amazing adventures are all taken away. Many horrible things were happening or were going to. I was desperate to get out of the house like I was trapped. Deprived of the night's sleep, I was an owl. Quarantine lasted a million years. Stressed, sad, and scared and frightened of getting ill. Masks walked to me, following me everywhere I went. Sanitizing and washing my hands every second. Fighting the battle, it was war. I was as silent as a whisper, though my mind was as loud as fireworks.
Thank you, Mahak. And of course, everyone today is still worried and still trying to get on with the new variant. But all we can do is hope that things will get better, and hopefully this new variant is not severe. It's a challenge. I don't think, especially for young people, because when you're young, you're want to go out, you want to be with friends, you want to have fun. And it's always in the back of our mind that we need to be careful and we can't meet in large groups. All right, and who do we have next?
Do you want me to go or?
Sanjana, did you want to go next?
Sure, yeah, I can do that. 1 second. So my poem is called Encourage Therapy, and it's really just focusing on trying to debunk that stigma and hopefully encourage people towards really connecting themselves with the support that they deserve and need. So yeah, here it goes. Encourage therapy. We must invigorate therapy and undo its stigma, because as the world ages, so do we, and more hearts fracture, others deprived of the key. With solemnness fills the wells of our eyes, barricaded by stigma or a lack of people to confide in. We need to proffer a hand to people incarcerated in pain they cannot command. And we need to reach out with our smiles, fortify our bonds, and replenish our lives. For life is cruel, but we can redeem its beauty with our light, emerging from silhouettes of those forsaken and companionless nights. Thank you.
Lovely, that was just lovely. All right, and our last speaker.
Yes, thank you. My name is Parvane Farhangpur Nikhsal, and I'm going to read 3 small pieces of one collection, which is called the Collage of Memories of COVID-19, March 2020, May 2021. I reached the side of a small lake. The lake stretches out silent, serene, and carefree. It is surrounded by strong, tall trees, standing like soldiers, guarding against invasion. I stretch out and make small ripples in the water. The expanding circles of light and dark rings, sparkling in the sun, evoke the unstoppable spread of the coronavirus. As the circles widen, memories of past year and a half flash back. A breath of park. It is a couple of days since I have stopped working, and like before, I'm on my way to the park. Wow, just look at those yellow flowers. The petals are so bright and shiny. It is as if they have been laminated. I haven't noticed them before. Are they new? I asked my husband. No, they have been blooming for a few days now, he answered. Yes, I had noticed them before, but only as though they were a piece of yellow cloth with images of my boss and co-workers printed on it. Their words and my reaction endlessly looped in my head, making me feel defeated and irrelevant. Those annoying thoughts were stamped as images on every flower and tree wherever I walked in the park. I saw nature behind a curtain of emotional thoughts. But now it is completely different. The curtain had been lifted. I could see nature as it really was, no longer wrapped in the heightened emotions and tinted with the worries of what may happen tomorrow. Once again, I could smell the fresh air and feel it wafting over my face. I could sense the vitality of nature as the life-giving water brought life and color to every leaf. The park was no longer a place to hide from daily hassles of life or to bury troubling thoughts. Once again, it was like a faithful friend that I could talk and whisper to. Now, when I leave the park, I carry a piece of it in my memory. and its air in my lungs, while images of trees, flowers, and the breeze keep dancing in my mind. Housebound prisons. Every day for months, we watch the news for the latest statistics of new infections and health advice from the chief health officer of our province. The message was clear: do not leave home except for exercise and grocery shopping, wear your mask, regularly wash your hands, and social distance for 2 meters. We were officially in a lockdown. Instantly, our homes became our office, playground, school, gym, and tragically for too many, confinement led to abuse. Only God knows how many children cried and how many women screamed in silence behind the closed doors. Sadly, during the lockdown, the number of cases of domestic violence, divorce, and drug overdose dramatically increased. Interestingly, many saw their neighbors for the first time busying themselves on their balcony or yard. It felt strange. Suddenly, everyone was at home. It was like homes had been shaken like salt cellars and occupants flung out into their yards and balconies. The story was the same the world over. Whether rich or poor, east or west, south or north, famous or unknown, every member of humanity was on COVID trial, waiting for the verdict, infected or not infected. And tomorrow, a new trial begins. Ring, ring. The telephone started to ring. WhatsApp notifications drummed several times. News was bad. That kind and loving friend had caught COVID and was in the intensive care unit. Family, friends, and even neighbors were ready to join in prayers for this dear soul. Prayer vigils, 24-hour prayers, small and big meetings were organized and we prayed. The friend could have been any one of us. That is why so many were willing to join and pray. Quote, thy name is my healing, O my God, and remembrance of thee is my remedy. Nearness to thee is my hope, and love for thee is my companion. Thy mercy to me is my healing and my succor in both this world and the world to come. Thou verily art the all-bountiful, the all-knowing, the all-wise, Baha'u'llah, unquote. This same story repeated many times for friends and families around the world. Patients lay in their beds connected to numerous pieces of equipment. Every breath a struggle, their chests slowly rising and falling as if compressed with unbearable weights, alone, no friends or family at their bedsides. They stay there, living on the edge, gasping for air, helplessly waiting in agony for a miracle that in too many cases wouldn't happen. Each life hangs by a thread. Will the thread break? Will it grow strong? Breathing becomes a titanic task, stretching the thread, reminding us that only one breath separates life from death and here from there. Thank you.
I hope that you are all okay and your families are okay and that you look after yourselves until hopefully things subside and get better in the world. I wish you all the best and I thank you so much for coming tonight.
We also thank you for the opportunity. You know, as painful as it is, always expressing ourselves will help. And I personally have learned a lot from my friends here who share their thoughts as young as they are, so beautiful and so caring. It's really a source of joy and pride, I think, for me, who is a senior. So
And
really,
hope
yeah,
for the world, because
exactly.
they are our future.
Exactly. Thank you so much, all of you, and especially to you, New.
And I hope you will join us, hopefully, when we have our next festival. And of course, 2022 is just around the corner. Keep writing your beautiful writing and enter again as many times as you like. It has been a real pleasure. And the judges have told me to send you their message that they enjoyed very much being the judges for 2021. So again, my thanks to you, and take care of yourselves and have a good holiday.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Take care. Peace.
Peace. Exactly. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Take care.